We're glad to see all of you, especially the high school students who made the trip with their teachers, so thank you so much. My name is Dolores Robinson. I am one of the English faculty members, and it's my pleasure to say a few things about our guest speaker today before he comes on up and reads from his work, Stereotype. Speaking of which, we have copies of Stereotype available in Jacob's Library, and it can also be purchased at any of your, I don't want to say the name of the A place, but any of your local bookstores, independent bookstores, carry copies as well. I want to thank a few people before I get started here. So when we first came to Dr. Gary Roberts about a year ago, more than a year ago, with the idea of inviting Jonah to come and speak today, he was so helpful and enthusiastic and just immediately said, yes, let's make it happen, and has been helpful along the way. So thank you to Dr. Roberts. Thank you to Liram Nazarowski of the Humanities, Fine Arts, and Social Sciences Division, and all sorts of people along the way. The One Book, One College team, who helped so much with advertising. Jana Liepart-Gutilla, who reached out to Jonah and has been a constant contact with him. Sandy Beard, Lisa Witalka, Jerry Lynn Schultz, Chad Brokaw, and Dr. Patrice Hess, who helped with resources as well. I want to thank Sigma Kappa Delta for contributing some funds, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, and there's probably somebody I'm forgetting, but in other words, a lot of people came together to make this happen because we're so impressed with and happy with and proud of Jonah, who is an ISU graduate and who is now just doing important things in the world with his words. Probably something you've heard from your teachers is that language and education together can do phenomenal things. And I think when you listen to Jonah today and hear his story and hear the poetry that came out of his story, you'll understand that better. So, a few things about Jonah, Dr. Mixon-Webster. Along with being the author of Stereotype, which is a collection of poems about blackness, the self, and the dismantling of corrupt powers in the fight for freedom, he also has been described as a reckoning and a force. And he's a native of Flint, Michigan, which has experienced so much hardship over the years. And the water crisis that originated in Flint, Michigan with changes that city leaders made forms the basis of a lot of Jonah's poetry. Dr. Mixon-Webster is the founder of the Flint-based nonprofit Center for Imaginative Freedoms and Economic Relief. He has received the PEN America Joyce Osterweil Award and was a finalist for the Lambda Literary Award for Gay Poetry. He is an alumnus of Eastern Michigan University along with ISU, and he is the inaugural Mellon Arts Postdoc Fellow in African American and African Diaspora Studies at Columbia University. He's also the recipient of the Windham Campbell Prize for Poetry and fellowships from Vermont Studio Center, the Center for African American Poetry and Poetics, Images and Voices of Hope, the Conversation Literary Festival, and the Pen Writing for Justice program. So a lot of people, along with us here at IVCC, are recognizing Jonah for all of his important work. Would you please join me in welcoming Dr. Mixon-Webster?
Heavy stuff, big stuff. What's up, everybody? I gotta do better there. Come on, we gotta check it out. I know it's a little early. I know it's kind of dreary outside. What's up, people? Hey, all right, that's what I'm talking about. Come on now. All right, y'all give me the energy, I'll give it right back to y'all. We're going to feed each other. All right. First, I want to just say thank you to everybody. Thank you, Jana. Thank you, Dolores. Thank you, Dr. Robertson, for everything. Thank you, Lisa. I don't know if Lisa's still in here. But everybody that made this event possible, I just want to give them the acknowledgement that they deserve. It takes a lot of work to organize an event like this. And like Dolores mentioned, a whole year of planning, right? And now we finally here, we're at the culmination. So I definitely want to make this worth everybody's while. Let me say a little bit more about myself. Yeah, we heard some of the accolades, some of the accomplishments, the ways in which I've been working to allow my poetry to move and manifest through communities in helpful and important and impactful ways. But I am a two-time college dropout. I have been to jail 3 times. I failed freshman English in high school and had to take it over again as a senior. There's so many failures in my life to go along with these achievements or these accomplishments that really they're too many to name. I say all of this to firstly let you know, no matter where you are in your journeys, high school, whether you're in college or not, or whether you're out of college and you're, on that professional track, professional field, just don't give up on yourself. That is the most important thing that I want my work to tell people. No matter what, do not give up on yourself. Do not give up on your dreams. When you have that passion in your heart, you have that dream in your mind, follow it. Believe it. Don't let anybody deter you. Don't let anybody lead you astray. There are going to be a lot of times in your life where you're going to come up against what you might think is insurmountable obstacles. This is life we're talking about. Nobody is immune to it. It doesn't matter what the skin color you have. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what job you have. This is life. And we're all human beings trying to figure this thing out. Nobody knows the answers. Nobody had a guidebook. Nobody had orientation for this. We all just popped up one day and now we're here. That is a heavy undertaking. It's a serious undertaking. Things will try to knock you off track. Your mind will go berserk. Your body will break down and fail. But as long as you remain faithful to yourself and your dreams and what you set out to do and what you know is right to do inside of your heart, in your side of your soul, there is no limit to how far you can go. This month marks the 5th year anniversary of this book, Stereotype, and the 9th year of the Flint water crisis and resistance. Before I get into some of the works about the Flint water crisis, I actually want to give you some pieces that kind of illuminate a little bit more of the journey that I had growing up in Flint. Anybody ever been bullied before? Come on, let's be real. Anybody ever been bullied before? Has anybody ever been picked on before? Has anybody been called names? Has anybody ever been publicly outed before? It's tough stuff. We can go back to when we were kids, find those moments of trauma that kind of haunt us or stay with us a little bit, threaten to control the way we see ourselves or control the way we feel about ourselves. I want to read you one of my favorite quotes that I use in the book from Jacques Derrida. Derrida says, "Ashamed of what? And naked before whom? Why let oneself be overcome with shame? And why this shame that blushes for being ashamed?" I need to get into something else before I get into this. I'm being like forced to do this. I'm being compelled to tell you this part. This book, Stereotype, contains one of the most confounding words known to any language. It is a word that I've constantly heard my entire life. I've been called this word. I've called other people this word. I even call myself this word. You all probably have said this word before. The ugliest nigga I know is the ugliest nigga I seen. In the half-shine picture, refracted by the glass, the sputtered window captures a Negroid catalog. Back neck, black, a flag of naps, black earwax, black folliculitis, black would-be empty holes in the eye, black elbow and elbow, knees, black capped, black hand bones, like this nigga been dicking cold barehanded. Black patchy crust from ringworm or another alien. Alligator skin. The brother says before the fade, the brother's mama yells, "Loose scalp," says, "Yo, daddy got it too." Y'all in them heads. Once, a whole school bus full of fourth graders clapped and sang Parliament's flashlight because light-skinned Brittany said my head was so big it reflected the sun like a flashlight. I ain't say a word. I'm going to give a content warning for this next poem. This is about sexual assault. Please, we're going to allow some time for if anyone would like to step out or need to step out without any judgment. I know it can be kind of like a spotlight when you need to do what you need to do for yourself, but please do it at any point in time, now or later. Psalm 6:6. And this is how a young boy finds manhood, at once constructed and crushed into the body on his back, drunk cheek to burnt floor, back wet on fire and lifted toward the sky of the den. A circling of waxwood laths, the circle of his face, slop shut, sodden, rugged scratch of skin, no sheath, but slick, not ghost, but gone. And this is how the big homie thinks it is better. With the mind of the boy tucked in the black middle, his mouth muted in the liquid smoke of his body. So even if he screams or wakes, there won't be any proof of the undoing. Beyond basement party on hush, beyond the hips record of bent, beyond nothing. Not the hand cupped down on his neck, not the boxer's lob, not the throat snuffed, not the picture of one's mother on the wall watching, not the mother crying with her boy crying, not the young paper flesh ripped, not the bed he's made to swim in. In my neighborhood, I grew up around a lot of guns. The first gun I ever seen, I probably was about 7 or 8. Came around with a bunch of other kids growing up in the hood. Wow, we playing Power Rangers. Y'all might be a little too young to really know how great Power Rangers was, but it was amazing. While playing Power Rangers, playing toys, action figures, a gun appears amongst a crowd of young boys. Paranoiac number 5, hoplomania. Everybody got a pistol. Everybody got a .45. And the philosophy seems to be, well, at least as near as I can see, when other people give up theirs, I'll give up mine. Gil Scott Heron. Gun. The gun appears at a gathering of little boys in the driveway. The gun appears with a pearl handle in silk and a lockbox inside my mother's headboard. The gun appears on the belt of a middle school liaison. The gun appears in leather atop my father's woven wood placemat. The gun appears tucked on the waist of my big brother. The gun appears with those other boys at the mini-mart. The gun appears as a shotty pointed before my windshield. The gun appears in the bandeau on the bend of its cushion. The gun appears in chrome, stuck through the window of a Dodge, firing outside of paradise. The gun appears as a sign. The gun appears soaking the lot with a steady light. The gun appears behind the bulletproof glass at BP. The gun appears in hand at the table of a drunk. The gun appears as a misfire. The gun appears at my boy's crib as a stick. The gun appears before the weather. The gun appears unbuckled on the officers who abound me. The gun appears in the basement. A father and his 3 sons fill 30 clips that hold 15 rounds each. The gun appears in double. The gun appears on a strap while my other brother eats a sandwich. The gun appears on the counter behind where I sit. The gun appears in the mind of my Uber driver having heard me make a clink. The gun appears loaded. The gun appears as a Warhol, a print tacked on the head of a shut room. The gun appears off another hip. The gun appears in front of the tiny air in my face. The gun appears as a joke. The gun appears as my fist in a hot mouth in no time. Just want to check in real fast. How we doing, people? Everything all right? We doing all right? Give me a little feedback. I won't let you know, we doing all right. Sorry if you're doing all right. Like I said, we're talking about life here, right? We're talking about life, right? Most of the life that I experience has been riddled with both joy and pain. I feel it's necessary. I feel it's my job, like the same way it's your job. The same way it's your job, your job, your job, your job, your job, your job. The same way it's all of our jobs to reconcile the joy and the pain of life so we can realize how beautiful the gift of life itself really is. How do we do that? How do we take the good with the bad? Everybody heard that before, right? You gotta take the good with the bad. It's hard work, but we gotta do it. Because what other choice do we have? Suffer, cry, wail, moan, escape. There's no escaping this stuff. based on actual events. Attempts to survive the apocalypse. February 25th, 2021, Flint, Michigan. Prologue. On April 25th, 2014, the city of Flint, Michigan, now a post-industrial site of contamination, had its water supply changed from the Detroit-provided Lake Huron water to the Flint River. Residents of Flint, Michigan have long reported foul stench coming from the river waters below the Linden Road Bridge on the city's northwest side for an indefinite amount of time. The smell of rot, always. Concurrently, the Flint media outlets, city officials, and citizens have reported multiple findings of dead bodies within and near the Flint River. Yet, authorities, emergency managers Edward Kurtz from 2012 to 2013 and Darnell Early from 2013 to 2015, both appointed by Governor Rich Snyder, ensured the use of the Flint River as the city's main source of water supply. As a rescission to the city's budget. However, the Flint water plant was not thoroughly equipped to filter out all of the harmful pollutants, and residents began voicing concerns regarding the water's noxious smell, murky yellowish brown color, foul tastes, and innumerable ailments listed as but not limited to rashes, boils, loss of hair, seizures, pneumonia, and pneumonia-like symptoms, irritable bowels, and vomiting. During this time, coliform bacteria, including Escherichia coli, was detected in the water supply. Chlorine was added to the water to remedy the damage. But in October 2014, General Motors discontinued its use of the Flint tap, citing that the water was corroding their car parts. General Motors then swiftly switched its source back to the Detroit Lake Huron water. Despite outcries throughout the city, Mayor Dane Walling assured residents that the water was safe to drink. Between the years 2014 and 2015, an outbreak of Legionnaire's disease spiked the city. 90 cases and counting have been reported. This is at that time that I wrote it. It was more. There was also about 12 fatalities, which also grew. In addition to the polluted water, Flint residents discovered the city was a testing site for military urban warfare drills. What does this mean? This means that from June 2nd through June 10th, 2014, they were testing bombs in the city of Flint. This is the stuff that the news don't tell you. This is why I wrote this. An uprising began, which ultimately spurred a more conclusive investigation generated by a dedicated pack of Flint residents, including Nayyera Sharif, Melissa Mays, Leanne Walters, and Claire McClinton. In 2015, Dr. Mona Hana Atisha, a scientist and pediatrician at Flint's Hurley Hospital, and Mark Edwards, a civil engineer, went public with research that would confirm the presence of lead in the drinking water and lead poisoning in the children of Flint. Preventative measures were never utilized by the Flint water plant, though it is a well-known fact that chlorine is a corrosive agent. The abrasive chemicals wore away at the pipes and began releasing lead into the water supply. Speaking of the effects of lead poisoning, Dr. Hana Atisha states, lead is a potent neurotoxin. The CDC, the AAP, everybody tells us there is no safe level of lead. Your cognition and your behavior It actually drops your IQ. Incubation. It is 2020 and the city of Flint says, don't boil the water. And I refuse to drink a single drop from any tap or bottle now. I've stopped bathing completely, waiting for rain to slick my skin back on. I eat accessory fruits, mainly from cardboard, and cover the rashes on my face with coconut oil to appear more alive. I sit beneath a sun lamp, touching no one. It is 2016 and the city of Flint says, boil the water. My mother lays her head in a couch of her own hair, pulls back a scar from the watermark in her leg, the scalp of her knee giving to the bloody lock. Faucet water hardens into a fang, attacks. Slowly unfleshes the body altogether. You know what? This week my niece goes live on Facebook, filming her son running in an errant stupor, bad as he is already, vaulting up an obstacle of leather, a base from which to rehearse flight. He lands, runs his mind into the carpet, muscle where his brain angles the floor. It is 2014 and the city of Flint says, boil the water. My niece, great nephew, and I bowl metallic mac and cheese from the aluminum. We all smash it, heavy and wet the taste in the soup of our mouth. TJ plays the last noodle with his finger, consumes it, says, where's the meat? It is 2017 and the city of Flint says, boil the water. I undo the gauze from the stitched together incision below my navel. The procedure, an embolization to loosen the knot of veins growing inside of me. And to clean the wound, I use a room temperature bottle of purified drinking water, more gauze, and a plain bar of antibacterial soap. I apply a small amount of Bactine to the area and stick on a hospital-grade bandage. I press onto it lightly for 10 seconds. It is 2014 and the city of Flint says, don't boil the water. I lie into a nightmare of sound. Again, there is no rest. The whole house in hood is washed in the voice of some agent installed in the part-burned projects adjacent to the crib, tucked in the half of an acre. An alarm. A holler on blast every night from 10 p.m. until we all sleep it off. This lasts for a year, despite any complaint. Another day starts like this, stretched by the mile of voice, sounding off from the intersection of Pearson and Clover Lawn, throwing itself to the undead which lay some distance elsewhere, the broke record of it, in the air, in the water, in the dream. Warning. Warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Warning, 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 warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Leave immediately. Warning, 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 warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Leave immediately. Warning, 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 warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Leave immediately. Leave immediately. Leave immediately. Leave immediately. Leave. It is 2015 and the city of Flint says, boil the water. Yeah, it's funny as hell, I promise you, this shit is so funny. It's 2015, and the city of Flint says, boil the water. I returned to the city for the first time since the story surfaced. Riding through the hood, crossing at the corner of Pearson and DuPont, stands a string of neon stanchions, military servicemen, a gaggle of pallets, a gaggle of bottled waters wishing us well. It is 2018, and the city of Flint says, don't boil the water. Soon, a new narrative, lead exposed as opposed to lead poison. The spin of an incident as an accident, a posture as if to say, you know what, we was all a little bit naive, huh? As opposed to, yes, we did this with our full knowing, knowledge and education notwithstanding. Surely, you can trust us now. It is 2020, and the city of Flint says, boil the water. Bills, flyers, pamphlets, bags, bills, manuals, mailers, bills, boxes, bills, bottles, bottle caps, bills. A junk flood in the streets, overflowing our houses now. Every piece of litter and literature yelling, consume, consume. It is 2019, and the voice on the radio says, have you or your family been affected by the Flint water crisis? Does your child's blood level show evidence of lead poisoning? Have you noticed any rashes or developmental issues with your child? If so, you may be eligible to file a claim and receive compensation for you and your child's suffering. Please call us at the law offices of, it is 2015, and the city of Flint says, boil the water. My boy posts a picture of his back, bubbling with fissures and an even spread. Having bathed in the city's northeast waters, the contagion carries itself into the host, bearing witness to a feast of skin and other soft metals. Black on black stone, under a white stone, after Cesar Vallejo. I will die in Flint, in the early gloaming of a raid, as blood honeys the fetid water. I will die in Flint, and a handoff without witness on any night. Perhaps this night, I'm found with broadcloth over my teeth, a bagged object in clutch, empty water bottles at my side, a dingy horde of glooms, and whatever else is left of my body will now enter the day rearward. In some nature, Jonah Mixon-Webster is dead and weaponless. A fortuitous echo sucking air out, a shrunk mouth portal shrilling its sole evidence of event, a darkening. Then all at once, snow. How y'all doing? We still here, we still together. We still going through this thing called life together. Thank y'all, I appreciate y'all. To y'all too, cause y'all living life too. Y'all trying to figure this out, just like I'm trying to figure it out. We all trying to figure it out. I'll do a couple more. You know, I want to, I said this at one of the last events I did at Illinois Wesleyan. I said, I'm just trying to get to the beauty at some point through all of this. That's all I want to get to. With all this shit that we experience in life. All the pain, watching our loved ones suffer, being miles and miles away and being able to do nothing about it. How can you find any beauty in that? How can you find any beauty in your own suffering? I'm trying. Dear Lord, I'm trying. Ode to Darnell, the erased Negro in the middle of my name. My middle name is Darnell. It never gets heard. It's also the only name that I have that probably will let you know I was black if you read it without seeing my face. Ode to Darnell, the erased Negro in the middle of my name. Darnell, English. From the old French darnel, an annual grass, Lolium timilentum. However, the plant was believed to produce intoxication. 2, variant spelling of darnal, a habitational name from Old English dern, meaning hidden or secret, and hall, meaning nook. From the Dictionary of American Family Names, Oxford University Press. It was said, heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. So in your name I listen not for some nightingale to unhook the chime from its would-be throat, save for the whistle of a single flare shot into the total blank of the mind's expanse. Oh, from where dost thou happy light retain? Upon what sweet and unsober face lie furrow the living shadow? What swarthy grace dost nurture your comfort for sun? O darling gloom of muted horn and fire brush unsounding, if thou truly were a plume of other earth, I would pluck it from its steady dark to keep only for myself, etching endlessly the hallowed scores of thy name. Self-portrait and stereotype number 8. Black as what surrounds a sickle moon. Okay, now, here comes my tautology. A blackness of a blackness of a blackness. Amal Jamal Johnson, Pigmeat. 1, you go on in the dark, wreath of midnight mornings as dust nursed by twilight. 1, you mirror the cocked open neck of a lost thing found on a plantation forest, you and your shot out eyes. 1, you and your swart eclipse, water stung by night rain, the pin-pricked flag bent over it all. 1, a blank body born from a blank gut, the shadow moth starved of day, its tongue hinged on its own wing. Man, I really wanted to make that beautiful for myself. You gotta make stuff beautiful for yourself. That's the only thing I found out doing all this stuff, rolling around in the muck, trying to get myself clean of it. When you're in those really tough situations, Make something beautiful for yourself. And I was told this, if you can't make something beautiful for yourself, then make something beautiful for somebody else. I believe that. Let's see if I got any more beauty coming on around here. I don't even really do this. So I got outed to the north side of Flint, Michigan. I got outed, you know what I'm saying? The north side of Flint, Michigan is pretty rough. It's not a place for a 9-year-old boy to be outed as gay for the entire neighborhood to know. It's just not a thing you want to happen. I didn't even know that I was gay. Somebody had to tell me. I didn't even know that it was something to be ashamed of. Somebody had to tell me that too. And then once I found out, oh man, boy, was I ashamed. I mean, really ashamed. Sometimes I'm still ashamed. On juking with another black boy for Denez Smith. When I walk towards you, I am an awkward thing. Up top, too thick, too lanky on bottom here. I might whine too slow or too fast. Forgive me if I give you my own beat to break to. If you smite me in the revel of sudden sweat and the ghost of it coming off. Now, let's call what our bodies do next a prompt. Don't pardon the grind, the almost fall, the almost fail of my thighs boomed heavy with laugh. There was a switch. There was music I can no longer name. There was an ache in my middle throat as I sang in false, and you heard it. You hummed it too. Let the sound gape to land on my chest. Let its light flit in the moon rush. At that moment, you call my arms a gate to any room, and I say, our touching is the birth of some star we couldn't see. Whew. How we doing? Was that all right? Was that? Am I getting to the? Is the beauty there? Is it beautiful yet? I don't know. Y'all let me know. If it ain't beautiful, I'll try something else. You know, let me know. Thank you. All right. Let me see. Do I got any more beauty, man? Where's the beauty? Woo, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to find the beauty in all this sometimes. It's hard to find the beauty sometimes. Said I try to find some freedom, but the price too high. My change too low. Had to sell my brother dreams down at the store. Oh, why? And it made me cry. Said I tried to buy some love, but the price too high. My change too low. Had to sell my mama ring down at the store. Oh, why? And it make me cry. I tried to buy some time, but the price too high. My change too low. Had to sell my daddy watch down at the store. Oh, why? And it made me cry. I tried to buy some kindness, but the price too high. My change too low. Had to sell my auntie smile down at the store. Oh, why? And it made me cry. Said, I tried to buy some hope, but the price too high. My change too low. Had to sell my uncle dope down at the store. Oh, why? And it make me cry. Said, I tried to buy some peace, but the price too high. My change too low. Had to sell my sister beauty down at the store. Oh, why? And it make me cry. Said, I tried to buy attention, but the price too high. My change too low. Had to sell my cousin mine down at the store. Oh, why? And it make me always I was a nigga. Bad at it. I was always being a nigga even when I wasn't. I was a nigga. Somebody's I was always bad at being man even when I was a nigga. I wasn't. I was. Bad at being a nigga though I wasn't. I was bad at being a nigga even though I was a real nigga or a bad nigga or a bitch nigga or a fag nigga, which I always was, always been bad, always a nigga though I was bad at it. I was bad. Really. I was bad at being a nigga though I wasn't. I was bad at being a nigga even though I was. Bad. And bad. And bad at it. Really, I'm a real nigga. And I bet if you go and ask my niggas, they gonna point at me and say, nigga, that's a real nigga. Really though, I'm bad at it. I am. Really. Thank you all so much for being with me, sharing these poems, these experiences. I know the language can get kind of real, but hey, right, that's life. Sometimes language is the least of our worries. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about that thing? Language can give us an entry point and an exit point with some of the things that we face in life. Language is supposed to help us understand the life that we're in and understand how to get out of it, if need be. Thank you all so much again for every artist. I don't know if y'all want to do like a little question answer or something. I don't know. I'm trying to fill it out. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all so much. Thank all of y'all so much. Thank y'all very much. Man, thank y'all very much.